Good evening. My name is Bob Connors. It is 6:00 p.m. and I'd like to call the March 19th meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission to order. Sean, can you read the remote open meeting law preamble and take a roll call of members present?
Good evening. My name is Sean Young. Opening the March 19th 2024 open meeting. I am the conservation agent for the Town of Newbury Conservation Commission. Please let me confirm all members are present and can hear me. Conservation members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Bob Connors.
Yes.
Brad Duffin.
Yes.
Diane O'Brien.
Yes.
Mary Rimmer.
Yes.
Mike Brown. TJ Conti. Woody Knight. Good evening. This March 19th, 2024 open meeting of the Newbury Conservation Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with the act relevant to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, which extends to the governor's March 12, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law until March 31st, 2025. This order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location and allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonably public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Please note that the meeting is being recorded and the attendees are participating by video and/or telephone conference, and the recording will be available on the Newbury Access YouTube channel. Meeting materials were provided to the commission members prior to the meeting for review. Before we turn to the first item on the agenda, permit me to cover some ground rules for the effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. The chair will introduce each speaker on the agenda. Proponents will be given 10 minutes to present. More time may be allowed at the discussion of the chair. After they conclude their remarks, we will go down the list of the commission members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called further. For all attendees except commission members and staff, please remember to mute your computer or your phone when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. Please be aware that the video participants can see you and that you should take care not to screen share your computer unless you have been allowed to do so. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. Should I do another roll call?
Have we had any additional members? I do not see anyone that has joined. Okay. Have you seen anyone else join the meeting, Sean?
Yes.
Okay.
But not from commission members.
Okay, then that's fine. All right, team, I'm gonna get going here. Upcoming meeting dates. Our next meeting will be April 2nd and April 16th. Meeting minutes review, December 5th, January 2nd, January 16th. These are in the Dropbox, and why don't we take these at one at a time? Okay, why don't we take a look at the December 5th minutes? The good news team, the four of us. Woody, good evening. You just get going, my friend.
Woody's here.
Thank you.
Galaxy Tab A.
Yeah, I had to go through regular Zoom. I couldn't get it off the agenda. Get in off the agenda.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the effort, my friend.
Yep,
Okay.
so
Woody, we were just getting into a meeting minutes review. We're looking at the December 5th meeting minutes. Can we take a minute to look at those?
I have just a general comment, Bob.
Yes, Mary.
Just that under members present, I think Sam typically would check off after the minutes were approved, what members were present. So I just wanted to let Sean know that just that's the entire list of everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that was everyone that was present, so you might have to double check that against the actual tape, or if anybody remembers if they were present for the December 5th meeting.
Yeah, you
I
know what?
actually had to check.
Well, actually, what Sam would do is highlight the person that wasn't in attendance. So on the December
Ah.
5th meeting, TJ Conti was not in attendance.
Okay, that makes it easier.
Yeah, so that we'll see that highlight on each one of these graphs.
Yes.
So that's the rationale behind that. Okay, any questions on the December 5th minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for December 5th?
So moved.
Second,
Okay. Roll call vote, all in favor? Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes,
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. I don't see, Mick hasn't joined us at this point. All right, moving on to next, January 2nd meeting minutes. Okay, when we take a look at those, Diane and Mick were not in attendance for the January 2nd meeting minutes. So we still have a quorum of the members that were, so. Okay, any comments or questions, corrections on the January 2nd meeting minutes? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the January 2nd?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mary. Okay, roll call vote, all in favor, Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
yes,
Brad,
Aye.
hang on, I'm sorry, okay. Diane, you weren't in attendance and Bob Connors votes yes, so we get Mary, Woody, Brad. Okay, we have a quorum of the members present, thank you. Okay, let's look at the January 16th meeting minutes. I was not present for that, it was on an airplane. Okay, any comments, corrections, or concerns on the January 16th meeting minutes? All right, hearing none, I'll take a roll call vote. All those in favor? Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
yes,
Brad,
Aye.
Diane?
Yes.
Mr.
Yeah.
Chair, we did not have a motion to approve.
Well, then let's do a reset on this. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes for January 16th?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Okay. Roll call vote. All in favor, say aye. Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
yes,
Brad,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and I wasn't in attendance. All right, moving on. First order of business, certificate of compliance for DEP file number 050-1405-61 Boston Road for work on a septic system. Sean, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this? John, you're on mute.
Yeah, so I went to the site. Everything looks good. Everything's grown over. Yeah, it looked good to me.
Okay. All right, questions from the members. Mary, any questions on this matter?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions?
no, I don't have any questions, Bob.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Brad, any questions?
No, Mr. Chair, thank you.
And Diane, any questions?
No.
I have no questions. Sam, excuse me, Sean, any raised hands from the public at this time?
No.
Okay. Is there a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 61 Boston Road?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second,
Okay. Roll call vote, all in favor, Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Brad,
aye,
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, next order of business, the certificate of compliance for DEP file number 0501263, 6 Old Rowley Road, for work to add a potable water tank. Sean, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this matter?
Yeah, so this was a potable water tank put in to replace a well. It was put into the side of the mountain. As the pictures, as you can see in the pictures, everything's grown over. Everything looks good. And there's sufficient topographic replacement because it was put into the hill.
Now, who was the issuing authority on this? Was it the Board of Health that would oversee the installation of this potable water tank, Sean? Did we check with them?
I did not check with them.
Okay,
This was done prior to Samantha. This was an open COC that never got closed out, so she wanted to close it out. I did not check with the Board of Health for this. I think there's a size requirement for that.
all right, well, why don't I hold you there? Questions from the members? Mary, questions on this matter?
no, I think I vaguely remember this project and I believe that they had to do this because the well and the lot was very small and the well and the septic system were too close together.
Okay. Anything else, Mary?
No,
Woody, any questions on this?
no, I don't have any questions.
Thank you, Woody. Brad, any questions on this one?
no, I'm good, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Diane, any questions?
No, I looked at the pictures. It looked good to me.
All right, and I have no questions in this one. Sean, any raised hands from the public?
Nope.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 6 Old Rowley Road.
So moved,
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, all in favor, Mary,
yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Brad,
aye,
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay, next order of business, certificate of compliance, DEP file number 0501352, 22 Temple Boulevard West, for construction of a new residence and associated work. John, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this matter?
Yeah, so pretty much everything looked good there. They did some vegetation replacement and followed the order of conditions. So everything looked okay.
Thank you, Sean. Questions from the members? Mary, questions on this matter?
no, I didn't have a chance to take a look at this site, so I'm relying on the pictures here. So far, what I'm seeing looks good. Maybe some other members, there's a fair amount of bare ground here, so I don't know if there was a requirement for planting that didn't take. Yeah, it's a little bit hard to tell whether the plantings are viable because of the time of year from these photos. Maybe someone else is familiar with this location. It looks like there's a hand raised.
Okay, Woody, any questions on this matter? And then we'll go to the public.
no, I don't have any questions, Bob. Thank you.
Okay, Brad, any questions on this matter?
all good, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Diane, any questions on this matter?
No, I mean, it did look like there's a lot of brown plantings around there, but I don't know if that means it was just the time of year that the pictures were taken.
Okay, does the applicant have a representative here that could answer Mary's question?
Yeah, Tom is.
Yep, Mr. Chairman, members of the commission. Yeah, I think the color you're seeing in the plantings is the time of year. They go dormant and the area has been planted beautifully. Actually, one of the nicer planting jobs that I've seen for these projects are conscientious and did a nice job. So But I think this project was successful and did everything that we told you guys it would when we permitted it.
Mary, any questions for Tom?
No, that makes me feel a lot better, so thank you.
Okay. I see a hand raised.
One more
Amy? Yeah, Amy? Do you have a question?
Hi, it's actually Amy and Christopher Christock with the property owners. So just to answer Mary's question, we had 400, I don't know, we call them sprigs or plants of beach grass installed, and the rabbits did enjoy some of them, and but you know, they've all gone brown, but we think they'll be doing well in the spring.
Great.
Okay. All right. Any further questions, team? Okay.
No, just when were the plantings installed, if you don't mind?
It was actually difficult to obtain them at the different times. So one was the ones closer to the house were early summer, and then the others were in the fall. I think it was maybe October.
Thank you.
Okay, Mick, good evening. We're on a certificate of compliance for 22 Temple Boulevard West. I'll let you get settled in, Mick.
Yeah, sorry, I was late. I was on the road and up at the Naval Air Force Base in Portsmouth today, so.
Traffic. I feel your pain. Feel your pain, my friend.
Okay.
So Mick, as I say, we were on 22 Temple Boulevard. We just had some questions. Tom Hughes responded, and it's for a certificate of compliance.
Okay, thank you.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for 22 Temple Boulevard West.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, all in favor, Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Mick.
I will abstain, seeing I was not here for the discussion, so
Okay, thank you, Mick.
respectfully abstain.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Right, next order of business is a request for a determination of applicability. It's our file number 437, salt marsh along the Parker River, map 16-7, parcel 26A, placement of a single temporary research station for collecting data on town-owned land within the salt marsh along the Parker River. Sean, do you have an overview on this?
Yeah.
I did reach out to the town administrator, and her guidance was that the applicant needs to seek approval from the select board on the proposed work, if it's in addition to what was previously.
So they didn't have any conditions in their approval. But I spoke to my circuit rider and she meant, so
Yeah,
Samantha,
I think the only question that I proposed was, it's owned by the town of Newbury. And in talking to the town administrator, if this is in addition to what was previously approved by the select board, they would just need to go back and go through the formality of getting approval for this work.
okay,
Okay. Again, where it's owned by the town, all requests to use the town property has to go before the select board. And if this is expanding what they're doing from their previous approval by the select board. So is there anyone here for the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chair. This is Evan Veneran, Duros Environmental. I'm here representing the Marine Biological Laboratory for their research project in Newbury. Also on the call is Michael DeRosa, DeRosa Environmental, and Ann Giblin of Marine Biological Laboratory as well. So if the commission remembers, in 2021, we submitted a RDA application that was approved to install a temporary research tower and a small access boardwalk to the tower. This application requests approval for another 3 years because the original determination will expire in November. We did, for the initial filing in 2021, we did get select board approval and have a special use permit for work on town-owned land. The project's not changing. The purpose is all the same. There are just some small minor tweaks that we're proposing in this new application, but we don't think it's substantial enough to need to go back to the select board. And if I may, I'll share my screen and talk a little bit more about the project. So I believe most of you were on the board in 2021, but as a refresher, this is Triton Regional High School. This is the Parker River that's winding through, and this is the Brackish Marsh. We call it the Typha Marsh because the primary vegetation is cattails in this area. So this is the location of the research tower and boardwalk that's installed to date. So here's a good photo off Google Earth. So this is the installed boardwalk. Each of these planks are 16 feet in length, 2 inches thick, and 10 inches wide. So they're very small. They're all timber, just rough cut lumber. And they access these solar panels and the Typha tower. And there's another solar panel here. So the only changes from what was originally proposed in 2021 is that MBL would like to install just one boardwalk length perpendicular to the existing boardwalk. And there's 2 reasons for that. The first reason is that their focus is for this year's study is on the dynamism of tidal flushing. And that data will be collected from the Typha that's closer to the river here. So that's the first reason why they'd like this additional boardwalk, so that they can have more access to a greater sample size. The second reason is because the researchers, when they access the site, don't trample the vegetation. They only remain on the boardwalk, and that's to collect their samples, to get to the tower, to the solar panels, and write their notes. So if one person is on the boardwalk and another person needs to pass, it's really difficult for them to shimmy around each other. So this perpendicular platform allows for a researcher to stand off to the side for another to pass. So that's the first small change. And the second small change is that they've gotten inspiration from a Minnesota bog research project where they use these aluminum scaffolding ladders that they suspend down. That's a temporary structure. So they suspend them down so that they have greater sample access at certain points throughout the Typha Marsh. And in order to utilize those scaffolding, they're looking to install just a couple supports parallel to the boardwalks so that the rear end of the scaffolding won't stand directly on the vegetation. It'll stand on those supports. So the use of the site isn't changing. It's all just really minor for greater data collection. And I will show you some photos. So as part of the 2021 determination, the commission required monitoring reports at the beginning and end of each data season. So these are photos from the report that was submitted in March of 2023. So it shows the installed boardwalk. So as you can see, it's really narrow planks. This is one of the solar panels. This is the Typha Tower. And as you can see, the researchers only walk on the boardwalk. They don't disturb the vegetation. All the vegetation has densely grown in around it, showing no signs of adverse impact to the marsh. And here's photos from the monitoring report submitted in the fall. As you can see, the lush Typha growing up around the boardwalks and around the solar panels and the tower. The commission originally had asked for the boardwalk to be removed at the end of the season. In 2022, the commission granted approval for the allowance to keep the boardwalk in year round. Because if you can see from the photo, to take this entire boardwalk each season would be an extreme effort. So the commission granted approval for the boardwalk to remain year round. And as written in the reports, you can see that there was no sign of destruction to the marsh, greater disturbance. All the boards were kept in their place throughout the winter. So that's a quick, brief summary of the project. And Mike and I are here to answer any questions that you may have. And we hope to receive approval. Thank you.
Okay. Questions from the members? Mary, any questions on this matter?
No, I remember that this project was presented as a temporary project, which is why we didn't require a notice of intent. And obviously the boardwalk doesn't meet all current standards for boardwalk construction, or I'm sure even building code standards. So my question is simply, what do you expect the duration of this boardwalk will be? I think that we talked about 5 years when it was originally approved. Is it still within that time frame?
So yeah, so the project is only going to continue as long as there's funding available. And at this time, they only have funding available through 2027. And if you have more information on if you think this will be a longer term project.
Yes, we have funding through about 2027. I will say that we have some towers on the refuge, and they're now the longest running salt marsh towers in the world. And the data has been really, really useful. This tower is giving us information on how methane fluxes change with sea level rise. But how long we keep the tower up is totally dependent upon funding and, of course, your approval. But we built the boardwalk with sort of this absolute minimum footprint as we felt we could, work with. The reason the tower is so far back from the creek bank is that it's the way the instrumentation works. It's drawing from a different vegetation footprint depending upon the wind direction. So in order to really characterize the area, we had to be back away from the rivers away.
And remind me how high it is above grade.
The
boardwalk itself.
Maybe Aaron has the exact figures. There's a platform that it stands on that's about 5 feet high, I would say, and the tower itself is probably another maybe 2 meters.
But the boardwalk I'm thinking of.
Oh, the boardwalk is only about, I don't know, I'd say maybe 15, 20 inches off the surface.
Okay.
It's supported by just sort of a U-shaped set of boards.
Right.
And the right between it goes the 2x8s.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure the commission is very supportive of the research that you're doing there and, hence the easier permitting pathway that you have. And I just wanted to reiterate that, it could be different members in 3 years and they may not feel the same way if this comes back for another extension.
Completely understood. And I appreciate the fact that you all have been so helpful.
That's
Mary,
all. Thank you.
okay. Thank you, Mary. Woody, any questions on this matter?
No questions, just interesting project, and I hope you're getting some good data out of it.
Thank you.
Anything else, Woody?
No, thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Brad, any questions on this project? Brad, you may be on mute if you're. Yeah, you're on mute, Brad, if you have a comment.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Chair. No, Mary and I were the only two current members that were on the commission at the time of this original application and approval. I do remember granting the waiver for them to keep that in place throughout the winter. But I echo Mary's comment about the 5 years. And if this was 2021, when we first approve it, and you now have funding through, for the applicant now has funding through 2027, then it kind of concerns me that this isn't quite the temporary that we had talked about. I echo the other members' comments that this is good research, but it seems like it's been a moving target with this, and that's not the original intent of the negative determination request. So I also question whether or not this should be a NOI, just from a procedural perspective.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. Brad, anything else? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I'm good. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mick, any questions on this matter?
Just, I'm assuming, but to confirm, the construction of the supports for these ladder extensions, are they to be, similar or identical to the supports for the current walkway?
Yeah, they'll be almost identical.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Diane, any questions on this matter?
No, I think my camera's messing up, but I can hear everything even if I'm not moving around.
We can hear you just fine, Diane.
Okay.
Okay. And the only question I have, team, is that where this is a modification, even it's slight, and it's on town property, town council has recommended that the applicant come back before the select board for their approval on this minor modification. So where it is town-owned property, it would seem that would be the appropriate step before we would entertain a motion on this finding.
Can we make it contingent
Conditional.
on,
I think so, yeah, Mary.
we could approve contingent on them getting approval from
Okay.
the selectmen?
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination finding for the salt marsh along the Parker River, map 16-7, parcel 26A, subject to select board approval of the modification.
So
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote. All in favor? Mary?
yes,
Woody?
Yes.
Brad?
No,
Mick?
Yes.
Diane?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. So team, I think you get the sentiment of the commission that this is probably, if it goes beyond this 3-year period, you're going to have to think of this as a more permanent project and come back with likely an NOI. just as.
Understood. Thank you very much.
Great,
Okay, thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Okay, next matter of business is the request for determination, our file number 438, Mass Division of Fisheries and Wildlife, Habitat Management for Rare and Declining Species, Kent Island. John, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this matter? John, you're on mute, John, if you're.
Yeah.
There you go.
So this is, they want to do some, invasive species removal. But this land is, on wetlands. It's outstanding resource water and priority habitat. Their map is general, it's broad. It doesn't describe exactly locations where that is happening. And since it is over 100-something acres, it would be nice if they had a little more detail on it.
Okay. Is there anyone from the applicant here that can make a presentation and answer questions? Okay, apparently we don't have anyone from MDF. Okay, why don't we open this up to questions? Mary, I think Sean has raised a good point on the size
Yeah,
and scope of this.
Thanks, Sean, and that was my point too. I don't know where this work is occurring. And really, it should be filed as a ecological restoration notice of intent. Probably, not an RDA, especially when we don't know where the work is occurring, so we can't really approve it. Also, we need, if it's in rare species habitat, we need something from natural heritage. I know that, Division of Marine Fisheries and Wildlife has natural heritage within it, so we need some correspondence saying that the work is consistent with the Endangered Species Act as well, which I'm sure it is, and they've coordinated on that, but we would need that information. So I just think that we need a little bit more detail on where this is happening and what methods of treatment they're proposing.
Okay, thank you, Mary. I'll circle back to once we go through all the members. Woody, what are your thoughts on this matter?
I agree with some of the points Mary just had, and I also, is this all state property that was proposed? And
Yes,
then where,
this is all state property.
okay, and then basically what's the work, where's the work? And I agree with Mary on that part, so we need more information.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Brad, any questions on this matter?
Yeah, it's more comment, Mr. Chair, with all the issues raised by the other members and the fact that the applicant is not here, has not taken the time to present this project to us. I think from that perspective, we should not even vote on this or vote no.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mick, your thoughts and comments on this?
I share Brad's comments that really needs to be presented by the people doing the project. It's not, we can't make a decision on that without that information.
Thank you, Mick. Diane, what are your thoughts on?
Nothing new that anyone else hasn't already said.
Okay. So my thought is the sheer scope of this project would seem to require an NOI. And the lack of information, the scope, and we would require anyone else with 100-acre restoration to come back with a NOI. So I would entertain a motion for a positive determination on this matter.
Can I make an alternative suggestion?
Yep, certainly, Mary.
Just to consider that we continue this because we don't have the applicant here. And in the interim, that Sean communicates with them that it's that, that the board is leaning towards a notice of intent and that they can provide, he can provide them an opportunity to withdraw or show up at the next meeting and explain why a notice of intent is not needed.
Okay. All right,
Uh,
so what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair, I think that this shows a total lack of disrespect by the applicant of not even providing explanation or is taking up our time. To give them a continuance, I think is placating to their superior authority the way they feel. And I'm putting my words in there. So I would say either a positive determination or out and out rejection.
Well, I think it's either gonna be one of the, it's either we make a finding or we continue it. I always lean towards the traffic guards where that some well-intentioned person who may want to participate is still stuck in traffic somewhere, but. Okay, Brad, we hear you loud and clear. Mick, what is your thought on?
No further thoughts, I think. Yeah, I have nothing at this time. Thank you.
So I guess the question before us, Diane, any further thoughts from you on?
Well, I mean, I know we've considered projects like this before and people have presented and shown us where they're gonna do and what they're gonna do. And, you know, there's more detailed maps and everything. So if we're gonna make a decision based only on what we have in front of us, I'd say find there to be a positive determination at this point. Or give them another week to show up. I don't, you know, I'm not ready to vote negative by any means.
Yeah, no, I don't think I would entertain a motion for a negative determination tonight. You know what, I would lean towards, let's table this matter, give them an opportunity to gather the thoughts and come back in. It's gonna be the same amount of a time, whether we find it positive or we give them a time to regroup and come back and make a presentation, but that's my thought. I'll entertain a motion, whatever the board wants to do, and whatever gets a second, we can vote on.
And make a motion to make a positive determination, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Brad. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, roll call vote. All those in favor of issuing a positive determination? Mary?
Yes, I'll go along with that.
Okay. Woody?
Yes.
Brad?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Diane?
Yes.
Okay, and Bob Connors votes yes. All right, next matter. Continued determination of applicability, our file number 436 for Johnson Lane for work on a septic system. John, can you give us an overview and a recommendation?
Yeah, so we had a site visit last Tuesday. The site looked good. There was some need for some conditions. Other than that, the site that they're working on is far enough from the buffer zone, plus it's split off by a rock wall there. They are going to remove some trees, or 2 trees, for access to the septic. So
Okay. This had Board of Health approval, as I recall. I think we
Yes.
tabled it the last meeting to afford a site visit to the members. Okay. All right, questions from the members. Mary, any questions on this matter?
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get to make it to the site visit, but I did go by on my own on Sunday, and met with the property owner. So I was able to see the site, and again, this I think came in during the transition period, possibly between Sean and Samantha, but I would say in general that septic systems should be notice of intents and not RDAs due to the amount of equipment and soil disturbance that's that happens, especially where equipment has to drive pretty close to the wetland to get access to the repair site. And the wetland delineation is based on Mass GIS, and it wasn't entirely accurate. I had a question as to whether or not it might even come over the stone wall right there, but I didn't have an auger to look at the soil there. So with all that said, I am, with the exception of requiring erosion controls, along that wall and around the corner, you know, to provide some, sediment control. The wall provides some, but at least that will keep, keep some of the muck from going towards the wetland there. I would think that we could approve it, as is with the erosion control barrier installed.
So, we've done in the past, Mary, we've actually had as a condition, some symbolic fencing to delineate where equipment can't go and where they can work, in the erosion control.
Mhm.
And I think that this may be an appropriate application for this matter.
Sure,
Okay. Anything else, Mary?
that's all. Thank you.
Okay, what do you, any questions or suggestions on this matter?
I agree with what's just been said, and I have no other questions. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Woody. Brad, any questions on this matter?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Mick and I were out there for the site visit, went through it with the engineer. His total station had broken down the day before, and that's why he wasn't able to delineate the wetlands. We were out there after it had rained for 3 days straight. But the site was relatively dry where they were going to put this in. I agree with Mary with the erosion control, and you, Mr. Chair, with the delineation of work. And to Sean's comment about the 2 trees that need to be removed, I would put a condition on there that those 2 trees are replanted with new trees.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mick, any comments on this one?
Yeah, I think a couple of things. We had talked in kind of building off of Mary's point, and we had talked with the engineer at the time about extending, I guess if you're facing the back of the property, you're facing the stone wall, of wrapping their erosion control up along the stone wall to create kind of a pooling area in case there was heavy siltation. So that was one thing that the engineer had agreed to at the time. Yeah, they're looking at pulling out or cutting down 2 red maples, replace them with like species. And one other thing, I don't know if Sean, if we had discussed this, I think we had, they were going to delineate, they were going to bring in, crushed stone or wrap fill to facilitate the vehicles or the excavation equipment coming in. So I think if he was going to, the engineer was going to delineate that on a plan. So I think we should condition that as well, that we know where that additional, whether it's crushed stone or whatever it is going to be brought in, and then condition that it's brought out as well after the project.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Diane, comments or questions on this project?
No, I'll defer to Matt. Excuse me, Brad and Mick. I wasn't able to go to the site visit.
Okay. Who is the applicant's, Alec, are you on this one?
Yes, I'm right here.
Alec, can you pull up your plan?
Yeah. I just had it all organized. One sec. I don't know why it's not here now. That's Dunstable, wrong town. There we are. Can you see that?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. Okay.
Alrighty, so yep, this is the erosion control essentially is going to be on the edge of lawn. This is zigzag line, so no vehicles will be going into the wooded area. But if the construction entrance, we could certainly put a construction entrance on there. It would just be your standard, 20-foot by 10-foot construction entrance, and that'd be coming up in the roadway this way. This is Johnson Lane right here.
Okay. Mary, what specifically would you like to have included on this plan for erosion control?
Can you slide the plan? Oh, let me just minimize. Okay, now I can see. And can you just highlight again for me where the erosion control is?
This brown, the EC.
The zigzag line there, okay.
The zigzag's the edge of lawn. Erosion control is the EC, the brown.
Got it. So the equipment is gonna go, where will it pass through?
It would be passing through here. This erosion control obviously wouldn't be shown here. This is
Okay.
the access for the construction.
Got it.
And it's kind of already set up there. You're not gonna, because there's all edge of lawn that kind of brings you all the way to the road. So not like they're gonna drive through the woods and drive up.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And actually, the erosion control would be the footprint of where construction would stop anyway. So it would-
Correct. Yep, right to the grading limits.
Okay. All right, let me go back through, Mick, you have a plan in front of you? Any questions for Alec?
No, Alec, and you and I had discussed this, or we had all discussed it, and it looks like you've already added that additional kind of tail, the erosion control, to wrap up along the stone wall. So I think that's an important part.
Yep.
And so it looks good for me from here.
Any other questions from the members?
No.
Okay. Sean, are there any raised hands from the public at this time for this project?
No, not that I see.
Okay. So, team, I think the plan, Mary, are you satisfied that the plan contains the proper erosion control? I'm satisfied that.
Yes, that looks
that-
good. I just couldn't pick that out on the plan very easily.
Okay. All right, yeah, I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination finding for 4 Johnson Lane.
So moved.
Can we modify that to add some special conditions?
Sure, certainly.
That there be replacement of the 2 maple trees in kind somewhere on the property. A minimum of what? 5 foot tall, 6 foot tall trees? Something like that. And that there be a stone apron at the street to minimize tracking of mud off the property.
Okay. All right, anything else?
That's
Yeah.
all.
Okay. So, why don't we do this again? I'll entertain a motion to issue a negative determination with the findings as mentioned by Mary.
So moved.
Okay, do we have a
Second.
second? Okay. All right, roll call vote, all in favor. Mary,
Yes.
Woody,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Diane,
Yes.
and Bob Connor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys.
Okay, next matter, public hearing, DEP file number, this was unassigned. So, Sean, has that changed since, I looked this afternoon, but I haven't seen it.
I checked around 5, after 5:30, but it still did not see a number.
So this is for 18 Temple Boulevard West for addition of a deck, elevated walk to dwelling, reclamation, expansion of existing parking area. As we don't have a file number, we don't have any technical comments. I deem the submittal incomplete at this time. And I would ask if the applicant wants to seek a extension, a continuance.
Mr. Chairman, first, I was in touch with DEP today, and while they cleared the check, they are unable to find the filing. I have the certified receipt. They received it on the 6th. So what I would ask is that because I understand at least one neighbor sent in an email, and if any neighbors have attended, that I just give a very quick overview of the filing. If the commission wants to set up a site visit, we just schedule that. I won't even bother responding to neighbors unless you want me to, and then we just continue to the next meeting. But at least give neighbors the opportunity to have their voices heard and have the commission at least understand a basic idea of what we're proposing. And I understand you'll have no technical feedback tonight.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, typically we don't entertain questions from the members if the file has been deemed incomplete. I do agree with you. We could schedule a site inspection for this tonight, and that would be my recommendation. and it's going to be continued regardless. So I would suggest you seeking a continuance to our next meeting. See if we can schedule a site inspection prior to that. And then afford everyone an opportunity at the same time for feedback. And we will have whatever technical comments.
Okay, no,
for
I
the
just,
benefit.
I understand. It's just that we, you know, we sent it in on time and we notified abutters, and those abutters, you know, don't have anything to do with the fact that we notified them. And I just thought it was just out of fairness to them if I pulled up the plans and they got their opportunity to have their say. But if we want to continue to the next meeting, and if the commission just wants to set up a site visit, we can certainly do that.
Well, team, let me continue with questions. Mary, setting up a site inspection certainly makes sense in this project.
Yes, I would agree. That would be helpful.
Okay. Woody, site visit work for you?
Yes, site visit and a continuance, yep.
Okay. Brad Duffin, what about you?
Mr. Chair, I would suggest that we let the conservation agent do his due diligence with the site visit and bring his recommendations back to the commission.
Okay, Brad. Mick, your thoughts?
Yep, I would entertain a site visit and not entertain comments at this time until we have a complete file.
Thank you, Mick. Diane, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, in agreement. It wasn't even on the DEP screen, so.
So team, go ahead, Mary, I'm sorry.
I just have to say one more time, and I know, Bob, you and I disagree on this point, but the commission's obligation is to hold a public hearing within 21 days of receipt of a filing. And failure of DEP to issue a file number does not mean that the file is incomplete. We can't close the hearing until we get a file number, but we can certainly open it. So how we proceed is up to the board. I just wanted to let you know that, you know, it's my feeling that if the applicant has done everything they can to provide the information in a timely way and met all their burdens to meet deadlines for submission to us 2 weeks prior, that they should have an opportunity to be heard if they wish to be heard.
No, Mary, I don't disagree with you that if Tom wants to make a presentation tonight, he certainly can. But I'm not going to entertain any questions from the members, which is the feedback you're very seeking. Because it's an incomplete file. We don't have technical comments. We don't have a file number. We cannot take final action on this matter.
Can't take final action, correct?
Right. So it's going to be continued regardless. So team, we typically schedule site visits the Tuesday after a meeting. So that would be March 26th at 8:30.
I'm available.
Mr. Chairman, unfortunately, I'm in Washington that week. Is there another potential day, either later this week or early the following week?
Yeah, I mean, I think, let's say Thursday, the 21st. How does that work for everybody? Are you available, Tom?
I have a DEP site visit in the morning, but I could do something in the afternoon.
Okay.
Why are we doing a site visit on this one already? Was there anything in particular that we're looking at that wasn't already in the submission?
My understanding is you guys have been favoring more site visits lately, and rather than have further delay opening the hearing at the next meeting, I was suggesting that if the commission was going to be inclined to do a site visit, that at least if we could schedule that. I tend to agree with Mary that, you know, the hearing should be opened. If you guys don't want to give feedback, that's fine. But it was more so neighbors could at least air any thoughts they had, because they've all been notified and now they all have to log in again in 2 weeks. That was my point of opening the hearing tonight. But it was really also so we don't open the hearing at the next meeting. We have done everything. We sent it in on time, and through no fault of our own, DEP can't find it. You know, I have a certified receipt. They cashed our check, but regardless,
it comes down to one matter, Tom. We can't give you final action tonight.
No, I absolutely, I'm not asking for final action, and it was a matter of just getting the process started and you know, getting the hearing open, giving people a chance to be
So the-
heard, and then moving on. But I understand the chair and the
The
majority of the
matter, the matter
commission.
being discussed is the date of a site visit. That would be
Right.
acceptable.
So the 21st in the afternoon would work for me.
Okay, how does it, Sean, does that work for you?
Yes, that works for me. The afternoon.
Okay,
I-
Mary, does that work for you, Mary?
It doesn't work for me, but I'm happy to swing by and take a look at it with the plan in hand. I don't
I
think.
mean, I'm familiar with the site,
Yep,
so. Okay, well, why don't we set it up for the 21st at what time? 1 o'clock, Tom?
It's a big 40B site. I have a site walk with DEP in the morning on, so I would maybe a little later. Maybe we could do 2 or 3.
Okay, let's make it 3 o'clock on Thursday for a site visit at 19 Temple Boulevard West.
18, Mr.
Excuse me, 18 Temple Boulevard West. My dyslexia is kicking in at this hour.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with that end of the island, you have to approach it from Sunset. You can't get to it from Southern and Fordham.
Okay. Tom, you're requesting a continuance of the public hearing to our April 2nd.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to continue this public hearing to April 2nd at the applicant's request.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second,
Okay, all those in favor, say aye. Mary,
yes,
Woody,
Yes.
TJ, excuse me, Brad,
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Diane
yes.
and Bob Connors vote yes.
Thank
All
you.
right. Next
Yeah,
matter. Next matter is a continued public hearing on DEP file number 050-14216 Marsh Meadow Lane. The work to construct a two-family dwelling with a septic system and utilities. Sean, can you provide an overview and a recommendation on this matter? You're on mute, Sean.
Yeah, so we had a site visit for this site. It was an expired NOI. They wanted to reopen it up. They missed a deadline. I did notice that while my time at the site, the erosion control was settling in and has pretty much become level with the ground. And I would recommend some more sediment controls, maybe even erosion control.
Okay.
Other than that, the site was dry and they had the wetlands you could see further in the back, but the site itself was dry even with the heavy rains that we've had.
I see Bob Grasso. Bob, can you pull up your plan? And
For the record, my name is Bob Grasso from Engineering Land Services, and I'll pull up the plan. See what we got. Can you see that?
not yet.
Nope.
Okay, share screen. Let's see what we got. Let's see, share screen. Not seeing it. Oh, there we go. Should come up right now. How's that?
nope,
You see
Nope.
that?
Nope.
Nope.
not yet.
Yeah.
We see you.
You can't see me.
We see you.
you,
Yeah.
not the plan.
Okay, I'm trying to share the screen here. Let's see. Share screen. Still nothing?
Does Sean need to
So-
allow you to share your
Still
screen?
nothing.
Let's see.
I
Yeah.
have not had to do that in the past.
Okay, Sean, let me ask you, Sean, do you have a copy of the plan? Can you pull that up? Share your screen. I think the point is we'll go over what erosion control is on your plan, Bob, and it sounds like it might need to be refreshed.
Yeah, there was on the northeast section towards the flags 21A through probably 16A. It has flattened out a little bit, and when the agent had talked to the owner, Ryan Kelly, he had stated that he was in agreement that he would add additional erosion control to make it up to date.
Can you see
protect the
my screen?
wetlands.
Yes.
Yeah, we can
Yes.
see that. Can you just expand it a little bit, zoom in a little bit, Sean? Okay, Bob, you can see the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, just to the right of the building, where the grading was right there. That was about the only spot that needed to be beefed up again. What happened there?
Sorry about that.
Okay. And all the members saw that the site was previously under the old NOI was the trees has been cleared. There's some grading. We've been prying at the ledge just to see to adjust the dwelling conditions for the bottom of the cellar floor or the height of the first floor. That's all been adjusted with the architect. I've laid out the existing the proposed dwelling at least 3 times. We've made adjustments 3 times to exactly where the stakes were at the site walk. And as is shown on the plan right now, those are the stakes that stakes of the corners of the building. And the entrance has been cut in. It does drop down, so there'd be no sediment coming out onto the existing shared common driveway out there. Once we get started, that will be all filled in with a stone stabilization entrance. Once the vehicles go in and out, there's no machines on the site right now. We're just waiting for the NOI to be issued, and then wait for the appeal period to to go through the appeal period to start construction. So,
Bob,
in the
why don't I
meantime-
stop you? Why don't I stop you there, Bob, and open this up to questions?
Sure.
But only because this is a fairly familiar project to.
Yeah.
a lot of us, so.
Well, there's new members, that's why.
Mary, any questions for Bob on this one?
Not really, no, I'm not thrilled with the amount of pavement that's proposed here. And I don't know exactly, it looks like there's not any stormwater management for it. I know you don't trigger DEP stormwater management standards, but do you have an infiltration trench along the edge of it? Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah, that's that orange line. That'll be there's actually details on the left side of water
Okay.
quality, grass swale. They are shown in detail on the left side of the front entrance.
I'm not seeing where that is.
Right along the edge of the pavement, there's an orange line, heavy
Okay,
orange
yes,
line.
yes. Okay, thank
Yep.
you. Now I
That-
see it.
All that sheet flow would go towards that swale.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you. That's all I have, Bob.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mary. Woody, any questions for Bob on this project?
No, I don't have any questions or comments. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Brad, how about you? Any comments or questions?
Yeah, no, Mr. Chair, Mick and I were out at this site visit walkthrough with Bob and the owner's rep, and went through this, and other than what Sean had brought up about beefing up the erosion control, I think this is fine with me.
Okay, thank you. Mick, any questions or comments?
No, just to follow up with Brad, we were there after a heavy, a couple of days of heavy rain, and didn't see any evidence of siltation or transport offsite or down towards the wetlands. And it's kind of surprisingly well drained for a glacial till situation. But I think just make sure that they have the proper siltation or build up what they have. I think Sean and we had talked about with you, Bob, about maybe piggybacking some of the silt socks that you have there to kind of build up a little bit higher barrier for your times when you're doing major construction.
Yeah, that was an agreement with the owner also
Yep.
at the site. Yes.
Yep.
Okay, Mick, anything else?
No, that's it. That's it.
Thank you, Mick. Diane, any comments or questions on this matter?
No, thank you, Brad and Mick, again for attending that.
Okay, so I don't have any questions, but one observation. Typically, what is our procedure for pre-construction where the conservation agent goes out, usually the pre-construction meeting? And we could make sure that erosion control was restored prior to construction.
And that can happen during the appeal period too.
Yeah, well, certainly prior to the work, any additional work being performed, I think.
Correct. Don't need to wait for the appeal period to expire.
Right.
I believe that's a standard condition that there be a pre-construction meeting. If it's not, Sean, can you please make sure that it's in there for this order and that the erosion controls are effective at the time of the pre-construction meeting. So they'll have to, if they're not effective now, they'll have to be upgraded.
Okay, any other questions from the members before I seek comments from the public?
No.
Okay, thank you. Sean, any raised hands from the public at this time?
No.
All right. Do any members have a request for additional information or plan amendment or adding additional content to this notice?
No.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Brad?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Diane?
yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. All right, team, we've closed the public hearing. We're at this point, Sean, we have a running standard conditions that we attach to order, all our existing order, our proposed order of conditions. Make sure, if you have any questions on it, reach out to Mary or me, and we'll just make sure that it's more of a duplicate beyond previous orders. So Mary, for special conditions, you just wanted to, I think is our regular order, our regular conditions cover everything we've talked about.
I think they do.
Yes.
So do we feel there's a need for any special conditions beyond normal?
Unless there were some already in the original order, which could be repeated.
Okay.
I think that the standard conditions should apply. I know that the way our special conditions work, you check the ones that are applicable to particular sites. So some of them that have to do with operation and maintenance plans of structural stormwater management or something, wouldn't apply. So I would just reference the original order and have that be similar, and maybe one of us can take a look at it, like you said, Bob, before it gets issued.
Okay. Thank you, Mary. All right, I'll entertain a motion to issue an order of conditions for 6 Marshmeadow Lane with the usual condition.
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, roll call vote, all in favor? Mary?
Yes.
Woody?
Yes.
Brad?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Diane?
yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a continued public hearing, DEP file number 050-1422, 94 Northern Boulevard, for work to construct landscaping, hardscaping, and paving work. Sean, at the last meeting, we had requested an updated plan from the applicant, one that was stamped showing proposed and existing conditions. What is the status of that? Have there been any submittals on this, or has there been a request for a continuance?
Hi, yeah, so the DEP information came back. They requested that it needs plans, photos of all project site are not efficient, needs engineering site plan. They received that. So the applicant has put a request for a continuance.
Okay. To our April 2nd meeting, is that the applicant's request? Or to the April 16th? Or they just asked for a continuance? You're on mute, Sean.
They asked for a April 2nd continuance.
Okay. All right, I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to our April 2nd meeting
So moved,
at the request of the applicant.
so moved.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay. All those in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes,
Brad,
Aye,
Mick,
Aye.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes. Okay. Moving on, continue public hearing, DEP file number 0501409, 18 Fordham Way, for after-the-fact approval of work to replace 2 sets of beach access stairs and a beach management plan. Sean, at our last meeting, Tom was going to submit a beach management plan. Did that get received? I haven't had a chance to check the drop line. You know what, Sean, I see Tom Hughes sitting here bigger than life. Tom, were you able to get in the beach management plan, and where are you at with natural heritage? Those were the 2 outstanding matters.
So
I recall.
just this evening, I had, was a little 2 ships passing the night, getting it together with the client. We reviewed, the issues that I had in my draft, and actually I dropped about 4 pages from it down to a simple 1-pager, because it seems like what they do year in and year out is actually really simple. And the things that get more complex, and I can pull it up on screen, it is a really simple beach management plan. And that has gone to Natural Heritage this evening, as it was submitted to you as well. But what I would like to do is go through it quickly with the commission, because I think I can describe it, and then you guys can certainly read it and get more feedback to me. But let me share screen.
Thank you, Tom. This is Pellegrino, by the way.
All right, so this is my Word version of it. I sent a PDF to you guys. So basically, the background here, as we've talked about before, is the Blue Inn has guests year round. You know, it used to be a little bit more seasonal. It's now year round. They need to maintain beach access, you know, a clean beach, and basically there are going to be times where things are unforeseen that need to happen, and with that, the initial discussions with the conservation agent to see, you know, do I need approval? Is it an RDA? Is it an NOI? What have you? But the general thing on the beach, there's debris and wrack that wash up regularly. In the past, there was some mechanical removal of that material. But what has been the recent history over the last several years has been hand removal, you know, raking of the material, maybe a wheelbarrow or something, but nothing major on the beach, just cleaning up wrack, cleaning up lobster traps and debris that washes up, keeping the beach clean. If we have a major storm or a significant amount of material washes up and it's necessary to do something more aggressive, then go to the agent, contact Natural Heritage, and make sure everything's good. before doing anything. So I'm just trying to basically say what they do regularly and then set the guardrails for when they go to the agent into natural heritage. With the dune, it's first of all important to stress what we talked about earlier, that the dune is really a revetment with a veneer of sand over it. And so this year it fared really well, but there are some winters where the winter storms wash the sand off it, and they typically bring a skid steer up to the top of it and dump the sand over it. They don't normally have to drive down on the beach in that process, and it's just sometimes a mini excavator, but it's really just veneering the dune. So that's when we have an erosive condition. When we have accretion, then initially sand is removed from the stairs just to keep them passable. And then if they get buried significantly, in the past, they've dug them up and reset them. Basically what we're saying in this case is if it reaches a point where they have to do mechanical work like that, they would talk to the agent, talk to Natural Heritage, and determine what type of approval was necessary depending on what had to happen. But the normal operation there would be that they're just kind of kept passable and free. And that's really the ongoing beach management is really related to just having it be safe access down to the beach, and a clean beach. And this is kind of how they manage it day in, day out. And then what I've tried to do is if it gets to things that are going to be a little bit more aggressive, then make it clear you have to go to Natural Heritage, you have to go to the conservation agent, and obviously Natural Heritage would really care on where it is in the time of year, right? If it's after April 1st, then they'll probably require shorebird monitor, things like that. But the debris cleanup happens year round. It happens year round at DCR over in Salisbury, and that's habitat. That's a pretty acceptable thing. So I don't know how long it's going to take Natural Heritage to get back to us. But what I'd like to do is just answer any questions. If there's anything you guys want to have in there, I can actually, it's in Word now, so I can actually type anything in and finalize this thing with any feedback you're willing to give tonight with this quick review. Or we can come back in 2 weeks and just get any feedback from the commission on what's written. And if we have Natural Heritage by then, we could finalize it then. If not, we would just have to push one more meeting while we wait for their comments.
Okay, well, thank you, Tom. Why don't I open this questions from the members? Mary, questions for Tom on this beach management?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that Natural Heritage will weigh in on this, but
Sure.
couple quick thoughts. One is documentation of the grain size that the contractor should provide, but to the agent prior to any sand being brought to the site, and then also
Okay, so I'm going to say.
I don't want to wordsmith it right now.
No, I'm just
yeah.
typing for myself.
Okay. And the other is just the time of year restriction for plovers. I think you probably just want to put that in the dune section here that you just don't do any this work doesn't occur during it's April 15th to whenever they fledge.
Yeah, I think it's actually April 1st now, but I've got the
1st.
I've got the Natural Heritage letter, so I just wrote a note to myself. I'm just going to cut and paste the whole list of conditions.
Yeah.
That Natural Heritage had in there.
Yeah, and then other than that, I just need more time to look at this.
Yep, understood.
Yep.
I will resend what I sent earlier this evening with this addressed tonight, so you guys have it.
Okay.
With any other changes and any feedback that results from tonight.
Okay, Mary, anything else?
That's all for now. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, questions for Tom on this beach management?
No, I don't have any questions or comments. Thanks.
Thank you, Woody. Brad, any comments or questions on this?
Straightforward, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mick, any questions? or comments?
Enough questions for me. Thank you.
Okay. Diane, any questions or comments?
No, thank you, Bob.
Okay, I don't have any questions. Certainly, Tom, Natural Heritage, whatever they, however they tinker with this, that we'll have to incorporate, so.
Right.
All right. Sean, are there any raised hands from the public? I see my good friend Steve Manchin up there, and Steve is
Oh.
following this. Steve, do you have any comments on this, or is there anyone else that has wants to add a comment or to this matter?
Mr. Chairman, no questions for me at this time, so thank you.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Sean, any other raised hands?
No, there's no other raised hands.
Okay. The applicant has requested a continuance of the public hearing to our April 2nd meeting. Am I correct, Tom, on that?
Yeah, I think Natural Heritage is often pretty quick on these things that they already have rendered an opinion on. So I'm hopeful I can get some feedback by then.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing to April 2nd at the applicant's request.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, roll call vote. All in favor? Mary,
Yes,
Woody,
Yes.
Brad,
Aye.
Mick,
Aye.
Diane,
yes.
and Bob Connors votes yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, the next matter is DEP file number 050-1386 333rd Street.
Oh, God, here we go.
For work to install a driveway to provide on-site parking with associated site work, including work within the 33rd Street right-of-way. The commission closed the public hearing at the March 5th meeting. The applicant has requested a variance from the local bylaw to exceed the 324 square foot, 2 9x18 spaces to 466 square feet, citing a public safety concern backing on to 33rd Street without the requested approach apron, as 33rd Street is the primary beach walking area, access for this area. So I'm just going to read from our bylaw. The town wetlands bylaw allows the commission to issue variances from the bylaw's requirement where, one, there are no reasonable conditions or alternatives that will allow the project to proceed in compliance with this bylaw. Two, mitigating measures proposed that will allow the project to be conditioned so as to contribute to the protection of the wetland resource area located on the barrier beach. And three, the variance is necessary to accommodate an overriding public interest or to avoid a decision that so restricts the use of the property as to constitute an unconditional taking. The variance request letter that was submitted by Hughes Environmental was sufficient to start the commission and the relevant information on each variance factor. First, no alternatives to parking safely at the property other than the turnaround exist, as the street indeed must be plowed in the winter, and the town determined the property owners could no longer park on 33rd Street. Second, the NOI does indeed show the French drain and raised edges of to mitigate runoff and cars driving into the dune. And there was also a 2-to-1 planting that was proposed to mitigate the disturbance of the driveway. And third, the public does have an interest in driving safely along the dense northern boulevard. Now, the commission must decide whether the existing parking spaces without the extra turnaround space required backing out onto Northern Boulevard, which in turn could pose a danger to public safety. So that's the bylaw, and that's a quick recap. Why don't I open this up to discussion and deliberation of the members? Mary, why don't I start with you?
thanks. I've gone back and forth on this one a bunch.
I know it's
One of the things that I've come down to is that we're being asked to make a determination about public safety, which is not our bailiwick. And it would have been nice, of course, I thought of this afternoon, not at the last meeting, but to have some kind of feedback from the public safety department in Newbury to determine whether or not backing out of this driveway would actually be a public safety issue. I don't feel like we're necessarily equipped to make that determination, but if they determined that it was a public safety issue, then I would feel comfortable that there wasn't a reasonable alternative to the variance. So that's kind of where I'm landing right now.
Okay, Mary. I'm gonna circle back obviously with everyone, so. Woody, what's your thoughts and comments on this?
I don't have any thoughts or comments on this, Bob. I'm gonna abstain from voting.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Brad, what is your feeling on this matter?
So thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm with Mary on going back and forth on this. I have a problem with saying that. Well, here's my two issues. One, I believe the property owner deserves the right to be able to park on their property. And from that perspective, I agree. But I don't necessarily agree with the fact that they are looking to pave additional section or use some type of pervious cover on 33rd Street so that they can back out of their driveway and basically turn around and drive out of 33rd Street. If they have in fact been using 33rd Street to park on for all these years, which brings us to where we are today, then obviously they've been backing out onto Northern Boulevard for a number of years because they clearly were not turning around on 33rd Street. I walked up there, I've been to that site. I walk by that house every single day walking the dog. I was very perplexed about this, only because of I don't believe it's right for us to provide a variance. I believe though that this homeowner does deserve to be able to put 2 parking spaces at their home.
Okay. Thank you, Brad. Mick, what's your thoughts on this one?
Kind of piggybacking off of Mary and Brad. Yes, I do agree. They have the right, per the bylaw, to put in 2 parking spaces. I think just as the variance is defined, there is, to approve it, there is no other reasonable alternative. And in Tom's last presentation at our last meeting, he presented 2 different alternatives. So they're all alternatives, although not optimal, they are alternatives. So granting a variance just purely based on that, I don't agree with granting a variance. In addition, really, you drive down Northern Boulevard and there are multiple homes that have head-end parking on Northern Boulevard to their properties. They back out every day. So it's not uncommon at all for people to have back out parking on Northern Boulevard. So I guess to second my position, the justification that it's safety issue, I'm just not, I guess I don't think that's a viable reason to grant a variance. So those are my thoughts.
Okay, thank you, Mick. Diane, what's your thought on this one?
Okay, I've given this one a lot of thought.
I think we all have.
And my concern isn't even so much the backing out onto Northern Boulevard. But if you think about it, when they're coming down that driveway, say we've all seen the plan where they have their 2 spots, they actually have to back out onto 33rd Street from those 2 parking spots. And that's, from my perspective, where the problem lies almost, because right now there's some, it's sand, there's some beach rows. Pedestrians aren't going to necessarily know that there's cars that can be backing out of that area up at the top of 33rd Street. So from that perspective, I like the idea of having the turnaround because at least there is a little cut back there. The street would look a little different. It wouldn't just look like sand, and it allows the drivers to see what they're backing out onto. And it would also allow any pedestrian that's coming off the beach to know that there was a different delineation of that particular space. And it's not a lot of space. It's about, what was it, like 124 square feet extra. And my driveway is sort of the same. I back out and I do my turnaround and then go head first down to Northern Boulevard. But I'm on the other side of the street. And I don't even like backing down. And I think we said it was about 55 feet, right? Backing down out onto Northern Boulevard, these people would have to go over 2 lanes of traffic, not just one. So they'd have to basically back out and then go toward center town, I imagine. And I mean, I looked at the different alternatives and I don't think that the alternatives help actually, because it's either a tandem situation where you're going to have 2 cars backing out so the other one can get in and out. And I think it's going to kind of cause somewhat of a log jam up the top of the street there. And granted, there's only 2 cars. So, it's not going to be a huge log jam, but I just think that having a safe access into the property to the 2 spots, and then just having a safe access out where they can just do a little turnaround. No one's, it's 124 square feet. I didn't see that as being I didn't really like the alternatives. I thought that, they've done their mitigation in my view. They weren't going to be cutting back everything. Everything was going to be purview, what else did I have here? I just think if we're going to give them the 2 spots, we should give them a reasonable way to go in and out. And again, my concern wasn't so much backing onto Northern, it's at the top of the street and backing down that street even, it's kind of more of a beach walkway. And if you're backing up and there's people walking up and if anyone's been by that site a lot, there's usually a car parked on the side of the house that's on Northern Boulevard. So, people backing down that are actually going to be usually, my own view, I guess, backing down the street that there's another car parked on that street. So I just thought, I don't think it has that much of an effect on the, the wetland area there. And I just think that they've done their mitigation and it just makes for a safer situation. And where they're cutting into, it's not really, well, anyways, I guess I've had my say, that's it.
Okay.
I would vote in favor of the variance.
All right, so team, I'm gonna approach this in a 2-step process. That's what the applicant had requested. The first request was a variance to exceed the 324 square feet, 2 9x18 parking spaces to 466 square feet, citing the concerns that were raised by the applicant. So what is our pleasure? Do we want to, I'll entertain a motion Mary, go ahead, sorry.
I just wanted to add a couple more thoughts, and one
Okay.
has to do with well, one is I don't have a lot of faith in people's backing ability, and that they're, eventually somebody's going to use a turnaround anyway, because that's likely what people are going to end up doing over time. But also I just wanted to point out that the state rules that we're also operating under don't have this variance provision. So it's strictly the due and performance standards. It's still a minimization. They still allow you to provide access, but there's a little bit of a difference in, it's possible that we could come down differently on the state rules than we did under the local rules. Presumably DEP approved this, local bylaw at some point or another. I think they did. So they must have signed off on that provision at some point or another. So we'll probably cover either way, but I just wanted to point out that we are operating under 2 separate jurisdictions. So that's all I want to say.
Okay, so team, I think we should make a determination on whether we want to proceed and grant a variance. And I'm going to reference the square footage because that's what it comes down to. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the variance request exceeding the 324 square feet to 466 square feet. Is there
So
a mo-
moved.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, all those in favor? Mary,
Yes,
okay. Woody,
grudgingly. Woody's abstaining.
oh, Woody, you're abstaining. Brad,
No,
Mick,
No.
okay, Diane.
Yes.
Okay, and the reality is so we've
2
got
to 2.
2 to 2 and 3 doesn't do it. So I'm going to vote yes, but we don't have, we needed 4 votes for that to carry.
Don't we need a majority of the eligible voters?
So we have 6 members here, 5 voting,
Okay,
so
yeah, I guess you need 4.
so the motion fails. So let's undertake the the alternative, which is the plan that was proposed for the 324 square feet, 2 9x18 parking spaces without the approach apron. I'll entertain a motion to approve a order of conditions based on the bylaw.
so moved.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor, say aye. Mary?
Yes,
Woody?
that's what I figured.
Excuse me, Brad?
Aye.
Mick?
Aye.
Diane?
Yes.
And Bob Connors votes yes. All right, any special conditions? I don't think pretty clear cut. Any special conditions we want to consider?
I thought the plan was pretty explicit.
Yeah, it was very detailed, and I mean, the overriding factor to me was the mitigation. And the fact too that the town ordered them off of that street because it was impeding foot traffic. So, but I think you brought up a valid point, Mary, that maybe had the applicant secured some sort of notification from the police department on that, it might have done the trick, but. Okay,
I have a
there is,
question.
yeah, go ahead.
Just before, is one of the alternate plans been approved? I'm just want to be sure before I.
Yeah, we
end the
approved-
meeting, which alternate plan is it just up to them to decide what square footage they use?
No, Tom had presented, there were 2 plans.
2, yeah.
One showing the approach, and the other was just the 2 9x18 perpendicular to 33rd Street.
But I
So
thought
they
that
can
even
just-
that required a variance, didn't it?
No,
No,
No, that one didn't.
No.
Okay.
yeah, because
Well, that's what
the
I meant.
the bylaw allowed 324 square feet, 2 parking spots.
So they can just pick whichever alternative they want to?
no,
No, it's what's
no,
shown
we
on the
approved the
plan,
second one.
right?
Okay, the second one. That's
They
my
get, they
question.
get 2 parking spaces only, Diane, and they don't get the approach apron.
And it's just.
No, I know, but there were 2 alternatives that Tom had presented. One had a tandem situation where there was 1 and 2 in tandem, and then he had another alternative that was Plan B that I believe had 2 right beside each other, right at the road. And then they were gonna kind of jockey in and out, but they were
Right.
2 side by sides rather than
That's correct.
1,
It's-
2.
I think that
tandem.
was the 324.
That's the 320 for the 2 side by side.
Okay,
My understanding of what, that was the alternate plan that they were seeking approval and if
B.
the variance failed.
thank you.
Okay. All right, any other discussion on this? All
No,
right,
sir.
this was a long one. Okay, now, if I'm not mistaken, is that that ends our
Agenda.
agenda for public. Just double check here. Yep, that's it. Okay. Administration section, staff reports and updates. Sam, Sean, excuse me. Any questions? Anything you wanna? Jesus, Sean and Sam, I'm gonna get that wrong for the near future.
Some updates, so we're working on some signs for the Plovers with Mass Autobahn. And that's pretty much all I got for you.
Okay. CSO release discussion. Brad, how, we've had a lot of rain. I can only imagine how many millions of gallons of affluent we've gotten.
No
That's
progress.
not
No progress, Mr. Chair.
It's
Okay.
we're at a half an inch of rain is what triggers the CSOs now,
Yeah.
up in the upper part of the,
The only way to
Half an
control,
inch.
the only way to control these is to put a moratorium on building permits of every city and town that is emitting a CSO until they fix their problem.
No, I don't disagree, and I think that the sad part is our shellfish beds get closed with, I think it's a half inch of rain or more,
It's gone.
and that's up to a week. If I'm not mistaken. Okay, why don't we go around for final comments? Mary, any final comments or words of wisdom you want to add?
no, good job, Bob, keeping us on task.
Well, it's just getting done here, and 33rd Street, you know what, it's a tough one. That was a tough one.
Yeah.
I think the intent of the bylaw was to get vehicles off the road.
Yep.
But Plum Island is so unique with these 10-foot wide right-of-ways that it's a challenge.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you, Mary. Woody, any final words or any comments you want to offer?
Just a good meeting, and to go back to CSOs, it's unfortunate. And I think with the rain last year, we're only open 6 days. It's the summer season, so it's unfortunate for the people who did. So other than that, no, it was a good meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Woody. Brad, any final thoughts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Brad. Mick, how about yourself? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, no, as far as the site walks, that we went on, last week, Sean, great to meet you on site. It was good to get Sean's perspective. I think he's gonna be a great addition to, this commission and to the town. So, really liked his attention to detail and also his rapport with the clients. So I thought that was great, Sean. And thank you for, for joining us, both on the site walks and, for the commission in general. So, looking forward to working more with you. And, yeah, the 33rd Street was a tough one. Glad we were able to get through it. And I'll just leave it at that, but thank you. Thank you for keeping us on task, as was said, Bob.
Well, you know what, it was two alternatives and we addressed them, so. Okay, thank you, Mick. Diane, there has to be some wisdom you want to offer to this group of
Nope,
6 people.
time
that-
to eat.
Time to eat, yeah.
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
We have a second. All in
Second,
favor?
yeah.
Aye, Mary, Woody,
Aye.
Yes.
Brad.
Aye.
Aye.
Diane, Diane. Good night, everyone.
Merry
Thank you.
Christmas.
Right.